electronic devices. And ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ask for a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you very much. Before we get started, Councilman Myers will not be here tonight. He's on vacation, excused. So with that, I will we'll go to the public hearing.
Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the town board of the town of Lewiston, Niagara County, New York, on the 27th day of January 2025, commencing at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Town Hall, 1375 Ridge Road, Lewiston, New York, to hear and consider the following property and property owner applicant, Citrine Power LLC, property location 4746 Model City Road, Town of Lewiston, County of Niagara, State of New York, tax map number 102.02-2-1, to consider application for a special use permit and site plan review for a ground-mounted utility-grade solar energy system on said premises. All interested parties will be heard by the town board of the town of Lewiston at said public hearing. A full copy of the application is available for review at the Town of Lewiston Building Inspector's Office during normal business hours, dated January 9th, 2025.
Thank you. Now, I have the sign-in sheet. Nobody signed in. Does anybody wish to speak in regards to the Ridge Road Solar Farm?
Apologies, Mr. Supervisor. Henry Sommerfeld from Hodgson Russ, counsel for Citrine Power. I also understand that cellist Sinead Burney might be signing in over the link.
She's already
Excellent.
there.
And here with Matthew Ranges from Colliers, consulting engineer.
Go ahead.
Excellent. I'm going to, actually, if Chell is on and unmuted, I'm going to have her give you an overview. Otherwise, I'm happy to address any questions.
Let me turn this up so everybody can hopefully hear. Okay, what's her first name?
Shella?
Shella?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi there. Hi, thanks for having us. I know Henry's there and Matt is there. Matt's our engineer, Henry's our legal counsel. I'll give you a little overview. We have been planning the development of this project. Well, my name is Jenna Burney. I am the principal for Citrine Power. We have been working with the Wishuda family and Water Disposal for a long time, trying to develop a solar project on their closed landfill behind their headquarter building. We have been in front of the zoning board of appeals in August, and we got some setbacks from the northern and western side in terms of in order to be able to fit our system properly. We actually have been in front of the county and we got their approval. They seem to be supportive of the project, and we have been in front of the planning board together with a public hearing a few times, and I believe they've recommended us to come in front of the town board right now. So this project is about 2.5 megawatts AC. It's going to be a community solar project, which, if you don't know what community solar is, I'm happy to explain that. I believe the town has some experience about community solar. You have a bunch of those in and around the town. It is a good way of making use of a completely useless piece of property, I suppose. It's an industrial zone. That's it for now. We'll if you want to, we can actually go through some of the technicalities of it. I believe my colleague Matt has some boards that he can show you the layout.
Yes, he does. You want to take over?
Yeah, we've got about 10 acres of solar farm. Because it's on a closed landfill, everything's on ballast, no real disturbance to the earth inside the landfill cap itself. Fenced in completely, and I think that kind of sums it up in general. We're happy to answer any specific questions.
Okay. You know what, if you wanna have a seat, if anybody else wants to speak, and we can answer them, I don't believe anybody else is here to speak on the solar project.
I just have a question just for
Okay.
my education on it. Can you explain the ballast system?
So, my understanding on the ballast is basically some fabric will be put down, on the soil. Then a structural engineer would come in and design what that would look like. So you would have, a certain section of stone and then I think a precast concrete ballast that these things would sit on top of. So the structural engineer would make sure that they're big enough to not put too much pressure on the landfill cap itself. And then also, to design for wind uplift forces on the panels themselves, so, they're weighted down.
Okay, and then what about settlement as far as the soil goes? As far as it being a landfill, if there's any shifting with the material that's already there?
Yeah, that would be part of their calcs as well, and Shelley can step in.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, that's a very good question. This is, so, you know, we're also in parallel need to get a, permit from the DEC, New York State DEC, and settlement is a very important issue for them for environmental purposes as well. So we're actually doing structural analysis in terms of, loads that can be put on the landfill, on top of the soil and the cap underneath, so to satisfy essentially DEC's needs, and for our needs, because nobody wants the liability of, damaging anything, on the landfill. So the long and the short of it is, we're going to calculate all of our ballast racking, as well as the, panels. All of the weight is based on settlement calculations, so that there's no settlements or caused by us.
Okay, and then just another question, how will the project change if you find that there are issues with settlement and that the soil is not gonna be able to, withstand the, support of the ballast?
The ballasts are going to be manufactured accordingly.
Okay. So if you have like soft spots, we'll call them, then you'll just rearrange the ballast as far as to where it's structurally sound?
Maybe we'll put some, soil supplementation, et cetera, but, that's all being calculated because we don't want any of the settlement ourselves.
And then what do you, predict as far as the impact from construction vehicles that are gonna be going in there to, lay the ballast and to install the solar panels?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have specific ballasts for doing landfill construction. If you want to, we can send you some pictures or some, videos. There's a very large landfill, actually, that Montante Solar, which is local to Lewiston and Buffalo, is building. The vehicles are very special. They get on the landfill in order to, put the ballast in a sequential basis. And they, watch for the, weight loads, essentially.
Okay, so there's equipment on the truck then, obviously, that could,
Yeah, it's not like
okay.
a big truck that's coming and dumping things. This is like a very carefully choreographed, construction process with smaller vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. Tim, is the issue with entering and exiting the development, or is that been solved with?
I was off sick last week and I was in school all day today, so I'm not sure how it progressed last week.
Okay.
The two issues I have with it are, I didn't get a copy of, unless it was emailed to me, of the access agreement between Modern Disposal and Washuta Family Trust. And I also don't know if the engineer and attorney signed off to say that the removal bond is complete.
We got a thumbs up.
I think here's the second part. I'm sorry, what's the second part?
The second part was the removal bond.
Okay.
I think we're all set based on the
Okay.
physical indications here from both, Alan and Bob.
Okay.
To Tim's, first point, we are in discussion. Obviously, there's proprietary information in the lease, so we're sensitive to that, and we're also not in control of that directly, because that's a thing between Modern and Washuta, but I can represent that there is access. When we were before the planning board, we identified to the planning board that our lease has access, and I also know that we also have a separate easement with Modern, and Shella can confirm that.
None of that's been proven to me.
Okay.
How long
The
is,
second part on the bond, we
No, no,
actually proposed.
the bond's okay, they said the bonds worked out, the first part is the question about access.
Yeah, so with this keeps on going up, it's interesting. We have, our property has an access road, it's part of the deed. We've said it before, we have access to Model City Road, that's part of the landfill property. And modern disposal and the Washuta family, they have multiple parcels. We may have to cross some of them. We have, our lease makes room for it, and we're also putting easement agreements as we're actually finalizing our final design between, different LLCs.
Well, if that becomes one of the stickler points, we're not gonna make anything, any decision tonight, we never do it on the day of a public hearing.
Sure.
Please work with Tim Masters on that, to make sure he's satisfied that that's the case.
We're happy to work through that.
Yeah.
We just gotta navigate the corporate complexities and,
Tim's the guy on that, so.
yep, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
then I'm assuming that those, leases for access are going to be for the duration of, the time that the solar field is active, and also to allow for removal?
That's
at
my
such
understanding.
time? Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in the lease drafting, but there are many times boilerplate, at least with respect to term for these solar projects and access. If anything that I've said is not correct, Shella will correct me, but that's my understanding.
And my only thought would be, Henry, that in the event that the bond has to be activated and we have to go and take care of it as the town, that we would also have access through that, right away.
I don't think that would be an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Through Tim and I would be able to take a look at it.
Sure.
Now, would this be a host community agreement?
Yes.
And
And
Tim,
Mr. Zumfeld and I will be working on that next.
okay. And the fire chief, he's worked through it also as far as the access, if there's anything that should happen with a fire, to be able to get trucks in there?
The fire inspector.
There's access to get in there.
Okay.
He was here at the planning board meeting last month, and he had no issue.
I have a bigger issue than he does.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lau, did you wanna ask a question?
Steve Lau, River Road. My question is there a benefit to the town for taxes, licensing, fees, a piece of the action? That's all.
Well, there is, and one of the biggest complaints when we approved a few other solar farms is why aren't these on landfills or dumps? I'm very careful, because if you call a landfill a dump, they get offended, but they truly said that this is a dump. I don't know the difference, but, so, this is where, if you're gonna put it someplace, we moved it to where it's gotta be on industrial property. That's how we changed the law. This is on industrial property. It's a truly a dump that nothing will ever be put there. I think Tim would agree, because I've been involved a little bit on the site, that what's there now, this is gonna be a much better option as far as visual. Because what's on there now? Dumpsters and.
Used to be porta potties, but they're not there anymore.
Yeah, so, for that type of reason, but yeah, the town will have a host community agreement. And, like I said, that's for the attorneys to work out. I mean, it's not gonna be a huge money pit, obviously, but.
But there is some income stream from
Yes,
it for the
yeah.
town.
Yeah,
There is, particularly because the town tax rate, I think, is nil or zero, which is why we're doing a host a community agreement and not a pilot.
can you repeat that again about nil or zero?
The town tax rate is nil or zero. Might be your next campaign. But we'll do a host community agreement, which is an agreement that provides a financial benefit to the town. And actually, the project will also afford those who wish to subscribe a benefit credit if they want to do the community solar, and that is handled by a third party, but that would also benefit. And it's also consistent with the state's renewable energy and clean goals, and as Chella said, and as Mr. Supervisor recognized, you're using a piece of property in a way that the state allows, because you can't do anything else with a landfill.
Right. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, just for the board's information, projects like these have been designated or determined by New York State in terms of seeker to be in effect a type 2 action. They made an amendment to the regulations, I believe it was back in 2019, that actually furthered the interest of having solar farms on closed landfill. So in furtherance of that, they declared it in effect in the type 2 action, which means no further action is required.
Right, and the planning board did issue a resolution to that effect, type 2. There won't be a formal seeker.
Okay.
Or at least if there is, it'll just mirror that.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you all, appreciate your
Okay,
time.
and like I said, no action will be taken tonight.
Understood.
Okay.
We'll touch with that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing? I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, thank you very much. Agenda approval, I need to add to the agenda, a resolution for the, Waste Pollution Control Center. And, I believe, starting with Councilwoman Wechter, you have some
Yep, I
issues.
have a resignation.
Resignation.
And I need that put on abstract of claims.
Abstract, that'll go right. And then Councilman Jacoby.
I have three resignations, one from the senior center, one from the police, and one from the zoning board. And then I also have the one appointment to the zoning board.
Yeah.
It's listed on the agenda already.
Okay. That means that'll do it. Can I get a motion to
Motion
approve the agenda as
to,
amended?
approve the amended agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, abstract of claims, Councilman Morel.
January 27, 2025, I move to approve the regular abstract of claims 25-00146 through 25-00146 and recommend total payment in the amount of $64,815.50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resident statements, nobody signed up. Does anybody wish to address the board? Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes for the reorganization work session meeting on January 6th.
I'll make that motion, I review them.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Department head statements. I have an announcement from the tax collector's office. The Town of Lewiston Tax Collector's Office would like to offer extended hours this Thursday, January 30th, 2025. The Town Hall will remain open until 6:30 p.m. to receive tax payments. The last day to pay taxes without penalty will be Friday, January 31st. Any payments received after that date will have an additional 1% interest due if paid on or before February 28th. So this Thursday, 4:30 to 6:30 will be extended hours in the clerk's office. And Cameron, anything else from the clerk's office? Chief, anything?
I'm on the agenda.
Tim? No? Jackie, you're on the agenda. Dan, anything? You wanna tell us about the water break on the circle? You don't?
Yeah, typical time of the year, we had a water break on the circle.
Okay. And then you helped Newport with a water break they had?
Yep, we had a water break this week too.
Yeah. Okay. Jeff?
I got a couple things. At the special town board meeting that we had on Thursday, January 23rd, we received the go-ahead to employ a pipelining contractor. A major sewer leak at the Power Authority. The leak is located halfway across the dam on 104 and is suspended under the road. Sewage is coming down. It poses a health and nuisance risk. It's also putting electrical distribution lines at risk. We would need a check cut for one half of the job as a deposit in the amount of $64,815.50. And Jackie has been working today to try to make that happen, but wanted to present it in front of the board.
Actually, that was the abstract that was approved already.
That's what I was told.
Work is gonna start on that tomorrow. There's probably gonna be a lane of traffic, closed going across the 104 there by the power bit. I would also, like the supervisor to sign the 2025 sewer use agreement. There's no changes from last year, no rates have changed or anything on it.
So we need a motion to allow the supervisor to sign the Water Pollution Control Center sewer use agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Also, the.
We have a motion and a second,
Oh,
all in
sorry.
favor? Aye. Opposed? You had to get a drink of water, sorry. Go ahead.
The WPCC Phase 2 of our SCADA project will take another step forward towards completion as we take half of our plant offline today, so work can be performed on various totalizers and measurement devices. And that's it for me.
Is this a good time of year to do that?
It is.
Yeah, okay. Mitch Zano intended to be here. He is out with the traffic or the roads with the blowing and drifting. So he, got a tree removal estimate for Oak Hill, where there are approximately, I think he told me about 25 trees. And we have 3 estimates. We have one from PL Tree Care, Arbor Tree, and Mike's Tree Service. And he asked the board to approve the low bid of $15,000, and this work would be started tomorrow with our approval as well, of removing those trees for drainage.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The funding for that will come from H97.
Okay, from the H97 fund.
Maybe the window blow a couple of them down.
Yeah, the price won't go down. Okay, no old or pending business, no new business, under my liaison report. The Lewiston Public Library, they came to us, they had some extra expenses, and they came to us trying to seek for some assistance, and the only thing on their list of approximately $40,000+ that we could help them out with was an issue they had with their heating unit. So I would ask to approve from our H98 account $2,770 to the Lewiston Library to assist with their repairs on that equipment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mr. Supervisor, not to interrupt you, Mr. Sommerfeld just came in and indicated that there's a gold van in the parking lot with the trunk open. So if someone has a gold van.
I know who says, right when we get to the good part, it's gotta run. So, we'll pass that and we'll move on to the, resolution. So I need a motion for a resolution that the town of Lewiston voluntarily recognize Teamsters Local 264 as the collective bargaining representative of the workers in the Water Pollution Control Center. I ask for a motion on that, or that's the resolution. I ask for a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There you go, boys. Okay? But you gotta stay for the whole meeting.
Yep.
Ed's back, okay. And speaking of Ed, we posted for a second building inspector. Our building inspector's office is getting extremely busy. We realize that there's a lot of needs in other communities for building inspectors. So with that, we posted at our last meeting, an opening for a new building inspector. Ed Zimmerman was on the civil service list as a building inspector. So I'd ask for a motion to approve Ed Zimmerman as a second building inspector in the building inspector's office at an annual salary of $74,258.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? There you go, Ed. Welcome aboard. For a long time, hopefully. They can leave, you can leave now. We gotta get rid of Steve, that's all. Legal, I think you're under Councilwoman Wector's,
I am, Mr. Supervisor. I have one additional thing that I'd just like to bring up
Yep.
to everybody. In line with, our auditors, Drescher Malecki, they've asked that we come up with a fund balance policy. I've been working on that. But in so doing, and meeting with Jackie, we talked about possibly having each of the department heads come up with a 5-year plan for, some additional investment into their departments, things that they need, dreams, if you will, that when fund balances allow for, we could kind of invest in those things to save taxpayer money long term. So between the supervisor and I would just pose to the board how they wanted to do those meetings between Jackie and the department head, so that once that 5-year plan in each department has been configured, that I could then dovetail that with what our fiscal policy will be.
So with that, what I would ask Jackie to do, she knows her schedule best of anybody, is maybe to reach out to all department heads and tackle that at your convenience. I don't know when your next downtime is, but, or maybe you can meet one-on-one with them, and if need be, I'll attend that, and then we'll have each liaison also attend the meeting, and yeah, we can.
And I'd be happy to attend also.
I know we've talked about that, having a fund balance policy for a long time, so.
And it's, what's funny is that I think that the policy that I'm drafting is gonna be the easy lift.
Yeah.
I think the 5-year plan, having a very concise 5-year plan for the town will do us a lot of good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Engineering, Riverfront Park.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Board, we're wrapping up the final designs for the Riverfront Park, fishing pier, kayak launch, and so on, as well as the second pavilion, and would like to request permission to advertise for bids for that project. Once we have the draft plans in and Mr. Master takes a look at her and we embrace any comments he has, and then after that we'll be ready to go to bid. But I wanted to ask permission for that, bidding that project.
Okay, I ask for a motion to put that out to bid.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions? I have a little statement. It was kind of frustrating for a while. We went through a lot of humps to get where we are today. And anytime you deal with a waterway, New York State, Department of State had some issues with what we wanted to do from Albany. And thankfully, they came around and left Albany and came here, and we attended it. Were you there with us, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the young lady that attended from Albany became our biggest advocate. So all the criticisms from Albany became, don't change a thing, when she came here. So it was a frustrating process, but finally they came here, and we were lucky enough to get her here, because I don't think this would have got done if they didn't come here.
Pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. So with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Excellent. Yeah, we wanted to get this under construction last year.
Yeah, yeah, we held up in the permitting.
Yeah. Finance budget revisions?
I've previously submitted, 2024 budget revisions in your board packets for review. Excuse me, and tonight I ask for your approval of those.
I sat with Jackie this morning and went over them with her, so I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Also tonight I ask approval for the town to enter into an agreement with Troy and Banks, which is a utility and communications consultant. They complete a cable franchise audit for the town. It does not cost the town any money. The Troy and Banks would keep a percentage of any savings obtained, which is currently 50%. We've used them in the past. In 2019, they recovered over $47,000 in their cable audit for the town. And in 2013, they recovered $43,000 in their cable franchise audit. Tonight I ask for approval of that agreement and for approval for the supervisor to sign it. It has been reviewed by our town attorney.
Two separate,
No, one
Yes,
motion.
please.
one motion?
two motions, I think, is what Mr. Jacoby's asking.
Right.
So a motion to approve and then a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
With motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign that.
Second.
With motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you.
Councilman Jacoby.
Okay, I have three resignations. One is from William Crowe. He was the senior center gardener. And, he resigned as of 1/27 today. And I have another reservation.
Do you want us to approve his resignation first, before you move on?
I was gonna do them all.
We'll do them all. Yeah, let's do them individually.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve William Crowe's resignation.
With regret.
With regret.
With motion and second, all in favor?
Aye. Second one is from the police department. It's, she wrote a very nice letter. Her name is Carly Brainerd, and hers is effective. What was the effective date for her? The 8th. And she thanks us for the opportunity. We thank her for her work here. She'll be missed, and I make that motion, we accept her resignation.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye. Okay, the last resignation is from the zoning board of appeals. It's from Zach Collister. And, I know I discussed some of this with Zach, and, he says with regret, and I know he does regret, he loves to do this stuff, but I think sometimes he's been a little too heavily involved. And it's a good move for him, and, hate to see him go, but I think it's the right thing for him to do. And I'd like to make that a motion, we accept his resignation.
Okay, I'll second it.
We have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And, the last thing I have is an appointment to the zoning board of appeals. And, I know Rob personally knows this guy from, his inspections department in the city. And I was on the fire department there, I had the opportunity to work with him peripherally. You know, I wasn't doing that building. His name is Lou Fontana, and he's a real solid addition to our zoning board of appeals. So I'm gonna make the motion that we appoint him.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Lou Fontana to a permanent position on the zoning board of appeals. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we put him on at the reorg meeting as an alternate, so we have an alternate opening, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Steve, any interest?
Not tonight.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, Councilman Moriarty?
Yeah, I'm the liaison to the Water Pollution Control Center, and talking with Jeff, and I was out with Ryan at a resident's house a couple weeks ago. We allow 2,000, up to 2,000 for backflow preventers for residents that want to take advantage of the program we have. Well, so far only, Jeff, what do you say, 1 to 3 people have taken advantage of it?
Yep.
So talking with the supervisor, I made a recommendation, maybe we raise it to 2,500, up to 2,500, so the residents can apply and get up to $2,500 for it. So that'll be a motion to up it from 2,000 to 2,500.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. What was the original cap on that? Do we know as far as the expenditure from the town?
We were looking at about $100,000.
Okay, is that going to change that cap?
No.
With the increase with 25?
No.
And that's only in specific areas, you're gonna be able to apply for that.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that it doesn't increase what the initial investment
No.
is going to be.
So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have tonight.
Okay, and Councilwoman Wechter.
Okay, yep, my resignation was taken care of earlier, so, we will not be doing that. And then I would like to introduce the local law number 1-2025. It's a law terminating, or I guess I would like to introduce for public hearing. a law terminating the environmental commission and creating the planning and environmental commission. And this, has this been posted yet or not?
No, so we need to schedule a public hearing for our next meeting.
Yep, so I'd like to, schedule a public hearing for that, and then as that public hearing is open, this document may have just some minor changes based upon that, public hearing time. So at this time, there's a motion.
I'll second it.
So motion and second, questions or comments? I have a comment. So we introduced this law once. Some of the board members wanted some changes, so our attorney held back, Sarah Wechter, and myself, not as involved as Sarah, and Dr. Mark Gallo, who's on the planning board right now, worked on some changes to the law. So we want to reintroduce the law at another public hearing before we make any decision on approving it. So
And it is significantly different than the first version.
Yes.
Giving it a lot more teeth.
Yeah.
Ms. Wechter had indicated to me that there's some additional things that she might want, but certainly opening the public hearing, we could discuss those changes at that date, and then, I'll be certainly happy to revise it again and present it for final, vote.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you assign the date? I think you probably.
February 10th at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
Our next work session. So with that, I'd ask, is there anybody that'd like to speak to the board? Yes.
Just a question about the cable on it that was done.
Yes.
Would it have anything to do with bringing in some competition for spectrum?
No.
No.
Never mind.
I wish.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Starlight.
Can I interject something?
Yeah.
Steve, we got, 5G network that Verizon is offering. They give you a gateway thing and you put it in your house. And you, what?
No, go ahead.
No, why?
I don't know if I'd get into an advertisement for Verizon.
No, but it's competition, it's
Yeah.
absolutely competition. And, I installed it in my house, and it worked great, and the speeds got up at 300 megabytes per second, 350, one time I hit 500. But I only kept it for a couple days.
Could you make a cell call through that? Cause my cell service is awful in
Well,
my house.
Well, what would happen then is your Wi-Fi would connect to that, and you could make Wi-Fi calls through that. And it was a lot better than, I live on your street too, and I lose calls in my house all the time.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately went back to Spectrum.
But they use Verizon towers.
It's different with the 5G. If you run a speed test, it'll say it's working off a tower in Toronto. It's working off a tower in Rochester.
Right.
Don't ask me how it works, I don't know, but it works.
Okay.
I would've kept it, a little bit at the far end of complicated for me,
Okay. Thank you. With that, we have our town board work session is on February 10th at 6 p.m., which will include that public hearing on the Planning and Environmental Commission. Historic Preservation on February 11th at 5:45 p.m. Zoning Board February 13th at 6 p.m. Planning Board February 21st at 6:30 p.m. And our next town board meeting, our regular town board meeting is February 24th at 6 p.m. And then remind everybody that this Thursday, 4:30 to 6:30 will be extended hours for people to pay their taxes. With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'm just worried that nobody wants to leave. All in favor? Thanks, guys.
No.